dear.
Right, I've
Oh
got the
dear.
comments.
Yep, we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Three Coaches, One Topic. My name's Donna Burfield, and today I'm joined by Garanay and Adrienne. And today's topic is very close to all of our hearts, I think. And it's about how can we support loved ones and ourselves who have been diagnosed with cancer, going through cancer, who are in remission, and really, how do we broach that topic? A lot of times we do find it very difficult and we don't know what to say, and we end up saying things that might not be very useful or constructive. Without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Garanay, who's going to tell you a little bit about herself and her coaching business.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Darine. I'm the founder of Gratifying Wellness. I have trainings in integrated nutrition, functional medicine, and positive intelligence. And I use these tools to help my clients who have chronic or autoimmune conditions to really improve their health and enjoy their lives with vibrant energy and confidence in their body. So it's have mindset change, habit change, adopting healthier lifestyle that is sustainable and practical. So that's how I help my clients.
Yes, you do. And it's nice because, when you are having health issues, sometimes you just need somebody to listen to you and get it all out and say, this is what's going on, and it's this, and it's this, and it's this. When you see a functional health medicine coach, you are given an hour to offload and then,
Yes. Make sense of what's happening, understand root causes, and it's a holistic approach. It's mental, emotional, physical, all have impact on the body and the physical diseases that appear.
Yeah, absolutely. You do a marvelous job there, Garanay, and thank you very much for joining us today. And I'm going to hand over to Adrienne, who has been on before as well, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself and her coaching business.
Thank you, Donna. Hi, I'm Adrienne, and I'm a women's wellness hypno coach. I've worked in the wellness industry for about 25 years now, there or thereabouts. But the latter years have brought me into the hypnotherapy side of things and the women's wellness coaching. My story goes back 10 years when I was first diagnosed with grade 3 breast cancer, and then re-diagnosed in 2020 with secondaries. Managed to get myself into remission really quite quickly, but unfortunately it reared its ugly head again in 2022, last year. I've had 3 very different approaches to my treatment, and what it's enabled me to do is learn a lot about cancer and how it impacts our life and how it manifests within the body. And what I've done is, with all of my learnings, I've now rolled that into the work that I do in order to help and support other people to help prevent burnout, to support them going through chronic illness, to understand their body and to reclaim their identity, really. And we use hypnotherapy, we use coaching, we look at food, we look at lifestyle. So there's quite a few modalities that are actually in there that are used to help people on their journey either back to wellness or to prevent the initial burnout and illness in the first place.
Yeah, no, this is so important. And can I just ask, out of curiosity, do you do families of those that have or are going through cancer treatment or have just been diagnosed? So do you support the families and friends as well?
Yeah, very much so. I've had a few people reach out to me over the last 12, 18 months because I've been so vocal about the work that I'm doing. I've sat and had conversations with people. I've done Zoom calls with people, just helping to explain how cancer can be triggered in the body, putting people's minds at rest, and just enabling them to make, what's the word I'm looking for? You see, menopause brain's kicked in. I've got your problem. I've got your problem to actually make an informed decision about their own healthcare, because that's something that many people don't make. They make spur of the moment decisions. They make decisions out of fear. And it's about making those informed decisions so that you can get the right treatment for your mindset and your body. So, I do work with other people.
Yeah, because first of all, I'll just quickly say that what I think is great is for those that sometimes, look, it could be your mother, it could be your husband, it could be whoever who's going through this. And if you don't have a great relationship with them, or they're cantankerous and they don't want to answer your questions, it's great for them to reach out to people like you both and say, listen, you know, a loved one's going through this. I want to know, I want to support. I don't feel comfortable asking them those questions. And I think this is, you know, not highlighted enough for those that are supporting those that are going through you know, it doesn't have to be cancer, it can be any long-term illness as well. So
I think, I was going to say, I think as somebody going through illness as well, it's very easy to forget the people that are around you because you're so focused on your journey and what you've got to do for you. You don't intentionally do it, but you just assume that everybody's okay because you appear to be okay. And it's remembering that as somebody that's going through that there are other people that they do want to talk to you about it, but they don't always know what to say for fear of treading on eggshells.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in reality, cancer is that like a family disease. Everybody is impacted with that one person's diagnosis, and everybody needs support. Everybody's going through trauma with that diagnosis. It's still a heavy one to be diagnosed with.
Yeah,
it is, because I mean, it's quite difficult if the person who's been diagnosed with it, if they're quite strong and going, okay, right, what do I need to do? Who do I need to see? What changes do I need to make? How can I support myself? If they feel that they're in control and they need to be in control of this, but the family, the people who are not, and they're falling apart and they're feeling fearful, it's very, you know, it's about that balance. Or it could be that person who's been diagnosed who's falling apart and needs that support, and the others are being strong, and that person then is feeling, well, why aren't you upset? Why aren't you fearful? I'm scared. Why aren't you scared?
Yeah, very much so. It's difficult to know what's going on in anybody's head, but I think when something like cancer hits, it's like a whirlwind in your head because you've got 1,000,001 questions to ask, and there's 1,000,001 places that you can go to, especially with social media now. There are so many people saying, oh yeah, you should do this, this and this, and then someone will say, oh no, but you should be doing this, and you should eat this, but no, you should be eating that, and you can't eat this, but you can eat that. And it's like, whoa, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? What is right for me? What is right for my body? It's an absolute minefield, and I think that in itself can cause additional fear on top of the diagnosis that you've received.
Yeah, and both of you in the fields that you're in, I mean, and you, Garen, I'm sure every time when you go on social media, if you see in health coaches saying this, that, and the other, you must probably, what? Where did you train?
Yes, where did you train? And okay, since we're talking about this, okay, whoever is diagnosed with any disease, not just cancer, don't go to random social media accounts or like Facebook support groups or, you know, Dr. Google and you know, get into the rabbit hole of, you know, try this and try that and contradicting information, like, you know, it will just make you feel worse. Try to find experts in whatever path you choose, and get direct advice. That would be better than believing there's a magic pill, magic cure for whatever you're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you guys okay to talk a little bit about your journeys? I mean, I'm happy to share that, you know, whilst I've never had cancer, I've had had a few scares, and I grew up with my mum having lumpy boobs, and all the time I heard, it's going to be cancer, it's going to be cancer, from a teenager. And eventually she did. She had breast cancer 3 times and ended up having a double mastectomy. And I've got lumpy boobs. In fact, I had 20 cysts in each breast that had to be activated. And I know it was really sore. But I had to make a really strong conscious decision at that point, because I could have just gone straight into that fear zone thinking, well, that's it. My mum had it. She had lumpy boobs, especially when the doctor used that term. Oh, you've just got lumpy boobs. I'm like, oh, my mum's here. But I had to make a conscious decision. These were just cysts. They had to be activated. So every time I have to go back for mammograms every 3-6 months, you know, I'm very, very careful. So it was funny. Before I found out about my mother, I just got married. And my mother-in-law, she had a lump on her breast. And I said, well, I'll stay in the UK, look after her. My ex-husband came back to the UAE. And we went to the doctors. They'd taken a biopsy. And she says, no, you wait in the waiting room. I'll go. About 10 minutes later, a nurse came out and she said, are you Donna? I said, yeah. She says, can you come in? Your mother-in-law's crying. And I was just like, shit, what's happened? It just, for some reason, it never crossed my mind. Walked in, sat down, and the doctor said, I'm really sorry, but your mother-in-law's got breast cancer. And I just burst into tears. I was a flood of tears. I was completely knocked off guard. I was no help to that poor lady. And I felt guilty. And to this day, I still feel guilty that I wasn't there for her. So that was the whole reason why I wanted to do this topic, is how can we, and support those around us. So if you want to share, if you're happy to share, then please do. If not, then pass.
Go for it, Gareth.
No, I think it's important to share so people can hear real stories, real scenarios, and maybe they would take a tip or learn something that would help them. My mother got diagnosed with uterine cancer 5 years ago. So she needed to do the surgery, got the hysterectomy done. She was also advised to do chemo and radiation, I think 5 sessions each. But at that point, my mom refused to take this route. And we did help her naturally through a holistic medicine practitioner in Dubai. So, of course, it wasn't an easy journey with the treatments, and you need to be committed to food changes, lifestyle changes, and doing those treatments. But they worked, and my mom is healthy and happy, and she's doing fine, and it's been 5 years. So it's a great story. She didn't actually tell me until she did the surgery. So she called me from the hospital. She said, I was diagnosed with cancer, just did the surgery. I woke up and I feel fine. I'm like, okay, why? I mean, I think she was at that point, because it was a scary situation for her. She didn't want me to worry so much, especially that, I live in a different country. I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
I wish she told me, and I could have supported her more. But some people, prefer to take control and do things on their own. And when they are ready, they would ask for help. So when she was ready, she came to me. And currently, only last week, a very close family member got diagnosed also with cancer. And this was a shock, because especially when someone is young, really young, you don't even expect it, consider that this is a possibility. So it was shocking news. And in the beginning, I went through different phases. Okay, first of all, denial. No, this is not happening. This is something else. Yeah, we let's wait for the biopsy. No, it's not cancer. So I went through that, and then went through the more of anger and why is this happening and what ifs and really fear. And yeah, I was crying. And I'm thinking, okay, well, why is it happening? That was I think the issue. Why is it happening? But then reached a point where, okay, it is what it is. Now we know what's the situation. Let's see what we can do about it. And me as a close, family member, what can I do to support her? So of course, when I was crying, I wasn't with her. And then I collect myself and I talked to her. But I also allowed her to cry and vent because she was also very scared. But now also she reached a point where she's calm, she's accepting and ready for the next steps because, she really wants to live. That is the important thing. I want to live. I will survive. I will get over this with this attitude and mentality. Then you can conquer, of course. So this is a current situation, and other things happened in the past week, all related to cancer. And it's definitely not coincidence because I agreed to this live 2 months ago. And then in the past 10 days, 1 week, so many things happening through clients and family members all related to this. And, I think it's important, like talking with cancer survivors also through the past week, because I do have a friend who survived multiple times with cancer. She struggled with cancer. She said it's important to think of it as diagnosis, not prognosis. It's not end of life, sentence, and this is it. It is not. It's a diagnosis. So accept it as that, and then look at, okay, what is the next step? What can I do to support my body?
And do you, if you don't mind me asking, do you have somebody that you can reach out to and have that talk? Because when it is a family member, it's very difficult. Again, who do you talk to? Because you don't want to worry them and get
exactly.
You don't want them seeing you upset.
Yes. No, I honestly, I couldn't talk with family members until I processed my emotions, and I spoke with my husband and I spoke with a friend. After I processed my emotions, I opened up to, my siblings and talked about it. But it's important to have support. And if it's not the immediate family at that point, then you need to think of who else is around you who could listen to you and give you that space, to vent out, unpack, and feel the calm.
Yeah.
Well, you've got my number on speed dial, so you know where anytime. Absolutely anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Adrienne, for you.
Yeah, I mean, mine's been a bit of a whirlwind few years, really. My nan on my dad's side had breast cancer and cervical cancer when I was younger, although neither of them killed her. My dad passed away from cancer in 2002. They never found the primaries. They found the secondaries, and at that point it was in his spine. They didn't do any chemotherapy on him, but they did surgery and put a metal rod in his spine. When he actually passed away, it was because one of his lungs didn't reinflate. I didn't handle his death particularly well because it came much sooner than I was expecting. I was under the impression that we'd got 18 months with him, but he was diagnosed in the May and he passed away in the August. And then I was diagnosed in 2013 the first time. 15 months prior to that, I'd had a friend of age 31 that had passed away from breast cancer, a 40-year-old and a 41-year-old. So, of course, to me, then get diagnosed with breast cancer only 6 months into a new relationship, it came as a bolt from the blue. And it was really weird because we found the lump kind of in the July, but it wasn't until the September, October that I was diagnosed officially. And there was a level of acceptance there. It's like, yeah, okay, I've got cancer, I'll just deal with it. So I went down the route of, I did the chemotherapy, I did the mastectomy and reconstruction, I had the tamoxifen, I got pushed into chemical menopause, and then proceeded to go into very much a victim mode in that, oh, well, I've had cancer, so this, and I've had cancer, so that. And everything was justified by the fact of, well, I've had cancer. And I was clear up until 2020, and I found a lump in my neck. And I thought, well, that's not right. So I got that investigated. I had a scan. And they said, yeah, you've got secondaries. They said that it was in my thigh, my collarbone, and my neck. So I did do immunosuppressants for 3 months. But I also started to do research about holistic and alternative treatment. So I changed my diet. I lost 2 stone within 6 weeks just by changing my diet. So I started doing mindset work. And within 4 months, I was back in remission. I thought, great, okay, nailed it. But then in April last year, it came back with a vengeance. It was in my left femur, it was in my hips, my spine, my liver, my lungs, my lymph nodes. I'd got a new primary on my left side. I got secondaries on my right side. I'd got metastatic lumps all over my back, my neck, my shoulders, and my head. And I mean, they were talking about putting a titanium rod in my left femur. They said it could snap at any point. Well, we're now 12 months down the line, and I ain't got no rod in my femur. I flatly refused any form of chemotherapy or immunotherapy. Yes, I have a bone strengthening injection. Yes, I've got estrogen blockers. But this time I did a lot more research. I went down the natural route, had mistletoe therapy, and within a very short period of time, the cancer had regressed. So it was in my femur, it was in my pelvis, there was some in my spine, lymph nodes, and that was it. So over the last 12 months, I've been working on myself in various forms to bring my body back into a state of balance. I do think that sometimes my oncologist shakes his head in frustration at me because he'll try to suggest something. I'm like, no, doing it my way. And which I think I'd say just find frustrating. You know, as Garane said, it's a diagnosis, not a prognosis. Somebody said to me, oh, what's your prognosis? I went, I haven't asked. I said, I don't need to know. I said, because I'm going nowhere. Yeah. I said, I have got such a zest for life and every reason to still be terrorizing this world into my 90s. I ain't going anywhere. So I don't need a prognosis. Thank you very much.
I love it. Yes, carry on terrorizing us.
Yes.
No, but before we get on to how we can talk, what questions and how we break the news about having cancer, I do want to just add that these are personal stories and personal choices, and we're not medical doctors, and we're not saying don't go and see a medical doctor. I think one of the big things, and Garane, you touched on it a little while ago, is that if you have been diagnosed, do your research, take control of that, and make sure they're credible. There's so many good and bad things out there, and we talk about alternative medicine when it's natural medicine. So I think also it's it's that
absolutely
language, isn't it?
Yes.
So we have to be really careful. Before we came on today, we were talking before, and I said because I've got systemic lupus. If I was diagnosed with cancer, and I've already had precancerous cells in my cervix as well. So if that did happen, I would not be going down the chemo route for me because of all the medical problems I have on top. And I'll be knocking on Adrienne's door going, help! Terrorize me, give me more information. But yeah.
Donna, if you are open and I really want this route, then yes, of course. But we need to reflect not everyone is open to the idea of using natural methods, and that is still okay, as long as they understand that there are side effects to the conventional treatments. So whether during or after, you need to follow a certain way of life that supports the body to actually heal itself, to avoid, spreading more cancer and recurring cancer. So whenever there's a diagnosis, like cancer did not happen overnight, okay? It took some time. So when you get the diagnosis, take a few weeks to research about it, understand it, and understand your options. And I always advise in any situation, take the second opinion and the third opinion, see which doctor and professional, you can envision yourself, working with that person and trusting that person to help you with your treatment. So take a few weeks, do your research, second, third opinions, and choose a team that actually work as a team. It's not just one doctor taking the shots, it takes a team.
Yeah, that trust and that rapport is huge. And as you said, it doesn't have to be either or.
Yeah.
If you are wanting to go down that conventional route and you want that support, I mean, that support is out there and it's going to support you through, during, and after. So so what's your view on this, Adrienne? Because I know
for me personally, and as you said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not medically trained, this was my personal choice. My biggest regret is having chemo in the first place, because in my mind, and from reading and research that I have done, the chemo has contributed, not caused, contributed to where I'm at now. And when I talk about conventional treatment versus natural treatment, I liken chemo to a toxic relationship and natural therapy to a relationship that helps you blossom and bloom. So when you're having chemo, it's killing all of the cells in your body. It can't differentiate between the healthy cells and the unhealthy cells or the mutated cells. It literally kills everything. Whereas with the natural approach, what you're doing is you're boosting your body. And I've noticed that a friend of mine, Janice, is online at the moment, and I met Janice through breast cancer. And she's actually a yoga teacher and does mindfulness and meditation. And they're actually, they're great natural therapies to use whilst you're going through cancer. Because the one thing that I've learned is that cancer is stress-related dis-ease. It causes a dis-ease within the body. So what you need to be doing is identifying what those triggers are and dealing with them. But until you're able to identify what those triggers are, go and find someone that does mindfulness, meditation and yoga and help to quieten your mind. To me, it's got to be natural. If it's, I mean, you wouldn't believe that I'm 75, would you?
Yeah, right.
That's too much. Sorry. That's too much. No.
sorry, I couldn't resist that. No, I mean, with all of the changes that I've made over the last 12, 18 months, I turned 50 last year and my body doesn't feel 50. Yeah. I feel my skin is soft and supple. I feel energized. Yes, I have a few issues sleeping, but I take supplements for it. One of the supplements I take is a high dose melatonin, which unfortunately you can't get here in the UK, but you can get from the States. But melatonin is something that is essential to the treatment of cancer.
Yes, it is.
It supports the body, and we're not told things like that. Here in the UK, I think the highest dose of melatonin you can get is something like 5 milligrams. Well, I take 180 milligrams a day.
Wow.
Morning, noon and night. It supports the body. The body needs sleep in order to heal. If you're not sleeping properly, the body's not going to heal properly. And there is so much out there. There's so much information out there that it can be a minefield. So do your research. But for me, it's always going to be natural, natural, natural all the way.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, yeah. That's the way forward, isn't it? With
of course. Yeah.
So I just popped that up there, Adrienne. Do you want to just give a quick spiel about your Breaking the Cancer Cycle on your website?
Yeah, Breaking the Cancer Cycle. It's a very basic website that I've set up, which is in the process of being updated with new information that I'm learning. It's a bit of a, it's a source of information when I was first diagnosed back in 2013, I wish that I'd known what I know now. So I've created this for people who are diagnosed and for their family, so that they've got a point of reference to go to. There's books on there that have been incredibly helpful for me. There's treatments on there that I've had. There's just very basic information so that you can go off and do your own research, but it's just information that I found really, really helpful. So if you go onto that link, if you scroll down the page, there's actually a link straight through to the Breaking the Cancer Cycle website as well. But there's books and resources on there.
Is there a way for people to communicate with you and ask questions?
There's a contact me link on there as well. So contact me via there. Obviously on Facebook, on LinkedIn and Instagram as well, and Adrienne Potter Wellness. But they can contact me via the website. Yeah.
Fantastic. And sorry, whilst we're on this, I'm just going to give a shout out to Lama Andari. Now, Lama has started this foundation, Abtuluna, and it's for pediatric cancer. So parents who are supporting their children who are going through cancer at the moment. And she's written a book, and she's got a website, and she's on Instagram, and she's really, really putting so much work into it. Her little boy is at the moment going through treatment for leukemia. I'm not going to tell you her story. It's touching, it's empowering, and definitely please go and have a look. And if there's any way that you can support, please do. Again, I think, that is one of the fears as well, when you have a child and you're told that they have been diagnosed with cancer. It's natural for us as parents to go to that dark place. And it's very difficult to talk about with schools, with other children, with other parents. And I think I mentioned this to you before, that, sometimes some people have this, if I'm going to talk about cancer, I'm putting it out there in the universe and it's all going to come to me. And that's fear.
Yeah, some people have that fear.
Yeah, I've been there. I have absolutely been there. A couple of years ago, I got to that stage, thought, if I'm talking about this all the time, am I going to attract it back to me? And it did. It scared the living daylights out of me, and to the extent that I just wouldn't talk about it for ages. And then I gave myself a bit of a reality check and said, stop being so daft. So, yeah, I get that. I do get that.
Do you think that's one of the things that stops people from having this discussion?
No, I don't think it is. I think we as a population, there's still so many people that aren't in touch with the law of attraction and the universal energy, etc., that I think there's a lot of people that don't think like that. I think it is just people. It grieves me to say it, but unfortunately it is a fact. The medical profession put people in a place of fear. The press put people in a place of fear. As soon as you hear the word cancer, you just assume that that's it, that it's a life sentence, it's a prognosis, and oh my God, it's cancer. Then, and you see all these signs everywhere, women don't survive secondary breast cancer, and you can't survive this and you can't survive that. Well, if that's the case, why are the people that were given, Jane McClelland, for argument's sake, she wrote a book, How to Starve Cancer. She was diagnosed with cancer in 1994 to start with, went through traditional treatment. Then she was re-diagnosed with lung cancer in 1998, was given 12 weeks to live, used a combination of traditional treatment and natural treatment and alternative therapies, came out of the other side of that. 2004, she was diagnosed with leukemia, and they said that the leukemia was as a result of the aggressiveness of the two previous lots of cancer. And now, here we are, 2023, and the woman looks amazing. And when you've got people like that they are the people that should be out there, that we should know more about. But here in the UK, there's a 1939 Cancer Act that is very, very outdated, that prevents the promotion of natural therapies. And yes, there are some charlatans out there. There are some people that aren't necessarily wholesome in their approach to the treatment of others. So it does need to be regulated. But that 1939 Cancer Act needs to be updated and brought into the present day, so that more people can survive, rather than living in the place of fear where they are put by the medical professions and the press. Yeah. Does that answer your question, or did I go off track?
Sorry, blame it on the menopause again. No, but I do believe, again, it is about being careful with those, that aren't regulated, and, contact certain, whether it's to do with hypnotherapy or medical boards or what have you, if you're unsure. I mean, I think I mentioned this a little while ago, that I saw a post of somebody who was doing hypnotherapy. I could even work out where this person was trained, and if they're certified, regulated, that you're usually proud to say, this is what I've got. And, and excuse me, they did a post looking for stage 3-4 cancer patients. And you can come to my workshop and I can cure you in 1-2 hypnotherapy sessions, and the thing that got me, not only should that person be put in a room and locked
Struck
up.
Off. Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit nicer than what I was saying.
I was being polite.
Well, the thing is because they're dealing with people who are vulnerable, people that are scared. And if they've been told you're stage 3, stage 4, and then you've got somebody who's saying, I can cure you. And that for me is the thing that gets me angry, is that you're exploiting and you're hurting and you're harming, and taking advantage of people that, in the face of things, they may come across very confident and strong, but you do have moments of weakness and like, shit, what's going to happen? I'll take this. So that annoys me.
I mean, my role as a hypnotherapist, if somebody comes to me who is going through cancer at the moment, my role as a hypnotherapist is to support them emotionally and allow them to take back control of any fears that they might have, to help them think rationally and to tap into all of their inner resources. Because what we don't seem to realize is that we have got all of the resources that we need within us. We're just programmed from such a young age, and those resources just get pushed down and pushed down and pushed down. So, the subconscious mind is like a filing cabinet. You start a new job and it's this immaculate filing cabinet. Everything is where it should be, and it's great. You can put your hand in, you can pull the file out, and it's great. And then you go on, and through the weeks, the months, the years, it's like, oh God, that file's in the wrong place. Well, what's that file doing there? Well, whose is that file? Where's that file gone? And that's what the subconscious mind is. It's a filing cabinet. So all I help people do is rearrange their filing cabinet so it's in the correct order.
No, that's great. That's great. I love that visualization, and it is absolutely. Right. Let me just ask you some questions. So, what is the best way of telling a loved one that you have been diagnosed with cancer?
That's
a really hard one. I'll let you take this one, Garane.
Well, from the recent experience, like I would advise people, if going through this, share everything you know about it. Mm-hmm. If you just hide information and just give brief here and there, your family and your friends will be more confused and more worried, and it just brings up more negativity than it should be. So try to share. It could be difficult. You don't have to share the same day you heard about it, but share everything you know, and think of what kind of support you need also. If someone has children, then that the mother or that father, would be worrying about the children, who will take care of them while I'm doing this. I would feel weak. So this is something like the first thing any parent would think about: who will take care of my children? So also initiate that conversation. If I need this and that, would you take care of the children? So share and ask what you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've hit the nail on the head there, because I mean, with my diagnosis, yes, we've told people what's going on, but we've never said anything until I've got the full story, so that I don't like giving people snippets here and there. I'd rather say, right, okay, this is the situation, and we're going to do this, this, and this. We can't do this, or we're doing this, so that they've got all of the facts. They've got all of the facts that I've got, and then if they need to ask questions, they can come back and ask me questions. But, as Garane just said, if you've got the information, just give the information. You will be, you'll see who your real champions are as well. Because there'll be people that you think who will be there for you, and they disappear off the face of the earth. And then you've got other people who you least expect, and they become your biggest champions. They really do. And it's mind-blowing. It really is, as to how different people can come in and out of your life.
So it's important for you to be prepared for that as well. That
absolutely.
Who you think may be there may not. And this doesn't make them a nasty person or what have you. It just, they can't cope with it. They're filled with fear or whatever reason. But no, that's a really, really important point to make. Yeah, I would say I found not the best way from my mum. My daughter was about 9 months old at the time. And got home, answer machine message. Hi, just to let you know, I've got breast cancer. Love you. Bye.
So how did you feel about that?
Well, you can imagine what my favorite word is. I was like, what the? So I'm trying to call her and she's not picking up the phone. It was a day later that I managed to speak to her. And I was crying. I was upset. But then I was angry. It was just like, how do you do that to your daughter? Who's living thousands of miles away, who's just had a baby, and she dropped. So I was a bit annoyed, and obviously very, very concerned. But please don't relay that message.
Sit down and have a conversation.
I mean, I will admit, when I was diagnosed the third time round, I've got a very close-knit group of friends that are just my absolute rocks. And because I knew that I couldn't get them all together in one go, and I just couldn't face picking up the phone again, I did put a group WhatsApp together, and I said, look, I'm sorry, ladies, I've got to tell you this way, that is back. So, of course, my one best friend, her sister passed away from breast cancer. She was one of the 3 that passed away before my diagnosis. My other best friend, we've been friends since we were kids. Her mom is like a second mom to me, and she had breast cancer 25 years ago. So she's been absolutely brilliant for me. She's also my mom's best friend. So when I got diagnosed first time round, it's like, right, I'll go and tell Auntie Joe's first. We waited for my brother to come back off holiday, and then we kind of all went round to mom's together and told her that way. But it is difficult knowing how to tell people. And the one thing that I will say that I absolutely hate with a passion is what I call the death look, is when somebody looks at you and says, and how are you?
Yeah.
No. Wrong.
Don't do that.
Don't
do
that.
it.
This is on the not to do list.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Yes, ask how somebody is, but don't go, and how are you? I'm here. I'm breathing. I'm fine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
as you've gone on to this, so I did a little bit of research, and as I said to you, there's a few things as I was going down the list, and I was like, "Shit, I've said that," but it really did come from a place of love. But foot in mouth, which is me. So on this website, it says, and I will be including this on. Things not to say is, I know exactly how you feel when that person's not had cancer, or you're so brave, or you're so strong, you look different. I haven't done that one. No, that is really insensitive. I'm sure you'll be fine. No, and this was God's plan, or God will take care of it. Some things to be very aware of saying, especially if the person isn't religious, and then to have that said, could spark a little bit of anger. So when somebody says to you, "You're so strong," on the defense of somebody who's not had cancer, and I think, Adrian, I may have even said that to you, and I know I've said that to Lama, "You're so strong," and I really meant, but I can see how it could be taken the wrong way.
Yeah, I suppose I've had so many people say it to me. I don't think I get too offended by it, because you have got to have an element of strength to go down, certainly the route that I'm going down. But I think even if you're going down the chemo route, I mean, chemo is just horrendous. Yeah. So you do need an element of strength. And I don't think it's necessarily the words "you are so strong." It's the way that they're said. Sometimes they can be so patronizing.
Yeah.
And I think it's more about the way that it is said rather than the actual words. Because I don't think I've ever been offended by somebody saying "you're so strong." I'd rather somebody say to me, "You're an inspiration," because of everything that I'm doing. I think as I say, it's more the way it's said rather than what is said.
Yeah,
from
I
my
suppose
perspective.
if it's in the context of you're so strong, you can handle this, rather than you're a strong person, we will get through this together, that sort of.
Exactly, because when you say to someone "you are strong," you're implying, okay, you can handle it by yourself and you shouldn't show weakness. But on the other hand, you say, "You are strong, and let me know how I could support you. What is it that you need? It's okay to ask for help." That would be a different scenario.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so what are some other things that it's not helpful for us to say once we're, in your company or on the phone? What's not helpful and what is helpful?
I think sometimes it's getting the balance right. So if you're somebody who is just gets on with it and just deals with it, people forget that you actually have got an illness. And there are demands made on you. And it's sometimes you want to scream, "I've got cancer. Give me a break, give me some space, stop putting demands on me." But then other times you just want to be able to get on with life and just not acknowledge that it's there. So it's like, I said that to Adrian, "You are so strong. Anyone can do this." Oh, bless it. I know you did, Janice. I love you.
Oh, I didn't see that come up. I'll pop that up.
Yeah, she's literally just popped it up. Bless her. Yes. Janice is fabulous. She's a very strong lady, is that lady. But yes, you want people to be considerate, but acknowledge that you're going through something. I've completely lost my train of thought now. It's because I read Janice's comment. Sorry, Jan. It's one of those days today, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's because I didn't take my lion's mane this morning, so my head's all fuzzy. So yeah, it's, you want people to acknowledge that there is something going on, but you don't want to be placed in victim mode either. You know, you want that happy balance.
Exactly. It's about balance. I agree, because you want to live life normally as much as you can, as much as you're feeling okay. You should not isolate yourself and, just sit on the couch with the TV on and get into that miserable feeling, because that will only make you feel more miserable. So try to get on with life, go out, try to have fun, spend time with the loved ones. And whenever you need the time alone, then ask for it and take care of yourself and recharge. But try to go on as much as possible.
I have got a saying, if in doubt, dance it out.
Oh, brilliant. I'm with you there. Let's do this on Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah, but also it's about knowing your friends. And, we have different friends for different sides of our personalities.
Yes.
We have energetic friends, calming friends, and all the rest of it. Back in December, one of my best friends in Australia, she's been diagnosed with cancer. And just out of the blue, knocked me for six, burst into tears. And but she has a fantastic network. She's very religious. She's got her church, so she's been doing a lot of praying. She's into her faith. Her family is wonderfully supportive, and so she doesn't need that from me. What I try to do is check in on her and say, don't forget, if you want any really bad dad jokes or just to laugh and you don't want to talk anything about health, you've got a space there as well where you can just let that go. So, and I think it is very important to find out who your friends are with those different niches that you can tap into as well, and say, you know what, today I'm going to speak to you and I don't want to mention. Excellent. I'm there for you. I can hold that space for you. So, yeah. Awesome. Now, okay, before we go, any tips for people of mindfulness, of, reflection and so forth, to helping them deal with this information and moving forward purposefully?
Yeah. I mean, there are a few things anyone can do. As I explained, it's a traumatic experience when you first get the diagnosis. So how would you deal with that situation? You can do the counseling, you can do art therapy, music therapy, do your journaling. There are different tools available. So find what works for you and actually deal with the emotions related to it. So I think this is very important. And another point, some days will be really difficult, accept that. So just take one day at a time, focus on today, focus on this hour, focus on this minute. And a close friend of mine, she said, sometimes it's just, one breath at a time to get over whatever is happening, and life goes on.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, one thing that I found helpful is breath work. With calming the mind. Yoga is very helpful, again, because it's not only calming the mind, but it's moving the body in a nice, gentle way. It's bringing the mind and body back into alignment. I do the journaling side of things. I've done a lot of energy work over the last 2 or 3 months, and that has released so much emotion. It's blown my mind. And I'm also having EMDR as well. Which is a trauma release modality. And again, incredibly powerful. I've known for years that the disease that sat within my body is stress related. I've known that. I've known what the triggers have been every single time. So, take that time to understand you, the individual, and journaling's great. some people don't journal because they find it overwhelming and don't know where to start. It doesn't need to be complicated. Just remember that diary that you wrote as a kid. It's no different as an adult. Write down your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions in that diary. You know, did you have a crap night's sleep? Have you had good food today? Have you had a laugh? Do you feel tired? Have you had some exercise? How much have you drunk? You know, simple things like that down, because the idea behind the journal is where you are on day 1 is going to be very different to where you are on day 20. And you might need to look back to day 1 to see how far you've come.
Yeah.
But it is a breath at a time, a moment at a time, a day at a time, a week at a time. The little steps add up to the big solutions.
Yes. And when you're really struggling, you can just put an emoji. Today was a sad day. Just put that. Yeah. And then,
draw a picture, doodle.
Doodle, because after weeks, you will go back and see, the difference. Where were you and where you are now?
Yeah.
Bullet points are great. Bullet points. Just and then you can elaborate when you're feeling better. Oh gosh, I remember why I was feeling like this. So I think one of the big things is communication. Is not to be afraid to say to somebody, okay, what questions can I ask? How would you like me to ask them? Do you want me to wait for you? What do you want? How can I help? You know, so have that open communication with each other. And, you know, also be honest. If I'm feeling fearful for you, do I have permission to, you know, look, at the moment, I'm feeling really, really scared and I don't know if I can talk to you about it.
Yeah.
You know,
the other thing is, don't force your opinions on people. I will openly admit that when I was diagnosed with secondaries in 2020, I went very gung-ho with my approach and was like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be doing the other. It's nobody else's journey. So don't force your opinions on anybody else, whether it's you that's in the driver's seat or the passenger seat. Be respectful of that person and their emotions.
Yeah. And if you're thinking, well, I wouldn't do that, don't say it. Because it's not you, it's the other person that's going through it.
Yeah.
You know. So any passing thoughts, advice? Just mention your website again. Let me do this. So people can reach out to you, Adrienne, and jump on that. The same with Garane. Garane, they can reach out to you. You're all over on LinkedIn and
Instagram and the website, Gratifying Wellness. So look for that.
Yeah, and when I do the replay on and wherever you've joined from, there's links for both Garane and Adrienne there as well. So if you forget. Okay, look, I want to say thank you both very, very much for being so open and honest today. It's a difficult subject to talk about, but, you know, this is life. We need to talk about these things, you know, if it's us, someone we love, or a friend who is going through it, you know. So thank you both. And I will wish you all a very good evening, and you all take care. Thank you.